Hey there! Around the Family Financial Partners office, we are in the throes of the final days of tax season, making sure we get all the last-minute statements out, along with all the requests for funds to pay those taxes. We're also busy answering a number of questions from our clients' accountants. For many of you, after going through the organization of doing your taxes, think a big box filled with random pieces of paper, sticky notes, and scribbled numbers. The question now becomes, what should you keep and how should you keep it? And what can you shred? Well, our general rule of thumb is that because we live in a digital world, the majority of your statements, investments, insurance, college accounts, mortgages, lines of credit, bank statements, vehicle loans, credit cards, they're all available online. And so you don't need to keep a paper copy of them. If you are, all you're doing is creating heartache for yourself or your kids when you either move to a new home or pass away. There are, however, a few exceptions. You should keep copies of your tax returns and supporting documents for at least 3 years, although it's a good idea to keep them for 7 or even longer, depending upon your unique situation. Also, if you've been with your current company for 30 or 40 years, and you've participated in the Employee Stock Ownership Plan, or ESOP, spelled E-S-O-P. Well, you'll want to make sure that you keep those documents or scan them into your eMoney vault. You may need these records for cost basis when you eventually sell your company's stock. The rules regarding cost basis have changed over the years, and these documents and the cost basis numbers are now required to be kept, but they didn't used to be. Perhaps you also have a folder or even a safety deposit box full of old stock certificates. Maybe you bought these years ago or inherited them from your parents. Each year, a few clients ask us to do some research on some old paper stocks to see if they're worth anything. Often this is a fruitless treasure hunt. But when we do find that that company is still around, one service that we offer is to add those certificates into your Pershing brokerage account. This makes it easy for you to keep track of your investments, and should you want to sell at any point, the process has now been simplified because those stocks are now with a custodian who can sell immediately when you want to, instead of having to wait 1 to 3 weeks. Plus, that's one less thing for your spouse or your kids to have to worry about in case anything should happen to you. Now, raise your hand if you have an old 401k, pension, or IRA account somewhere that you set up years and years ago and never got around to consolidating. Well, now is a great time over the spring and summer for our operations team, that's Greg and John, to help you consolidate those old orphan accounts. And once things have been consolidated, all those old statements can also be tossed, further simplifying your financial life with less mail and more file cabinet space available. Now, for all of you pack rats out there, hey, I've watched a few episodes of Hoarders. If you haven't invited me over to your house, well, I just assume it's because you haven't cleared a path through all the rubbish yet. I know that some people do like to keep everything, but trust me, you don't need to keep all those Kentucky utility statements or Columbia gas bills. They won't cut your service off, I promise. And the same goes for your Time Warner or your Windstream bill. I've heard, though, that your rates will go up every year unless you shred those documents. Go ahead, shred them. Prove me wrong. When it comes to insurance documents outside of 6 months to a year, you don't need to keep your home, auto, and umbrella policies. We all know the cost of replacing anything goes up each year, unless it's that handy DVD player. And at the end of the day, if you're in doubt about what you should keep versus what you should toss, please feel free to give us a call at the office and we'll gladly give you guidance. If you do have documents you need to shred, let our operations guys know, as we provide shredding service for all of your old records. Lastly, even though we're only just into the second quarter of the year, it's not too early to set aside your 2016 tax box and start tossing in anything you think should be a tax deduction, right? Of course, don't forget all those sticky notes, hodgepodge of paperwork, and random numbers, and think of it as a time capsule that you're going to give to your gleeful CPA each year to remind them just how organized you are.